Hey everybody, John Harris here with you, and I'm with my pal and co-host Billy Smith. Hey Bill, how's it going?
Hey Johnny, Merry early Christmas.
Thanks, pal. Thanks. Um, yeah, the Christmas gift for us will be if we were able to get out of the house. We're going to get some weather here. Ooh, it's
Yeah,
going to be nasty. Starting tonight, late tonight. I guess we're getting some snow. Wind chills are going to be for a couple days. Are going to be between tomorrow, between overnight tonight into tomorrow, between minus 25 and minus 40 degrees.
holy crap.
Yeah, we're all saying that. I mean, and we're used to some cold weather out here, but
Yeah,
not
holy moly.
that. That's nuts. Supposed to be like that, I think, all day tomorrow, and then I keep looking over at the crawl just to make sure there's no other uh, uh, updates or changes in players, and injuries, and things like that. But yeah, it's going to be cold, so it's
Yeah, bundle up.
good thing to bundle up, and let's face it, it's a good thing Christmas is Sunday
Yeah,
because it is supposed to warm up a few degrees by Saturday and Sunday. But
that's good.
Thursday and Friday is supposed to be pretty rough. So let's just say tomorrow my plan is to not have any plans outside of the house.
Yeah,
So I mean, I got to take Junior out a couple times, but I actually have a coat for him and all kinds of crap. So and let's face it, he's going to get outside, do what he has to do, and probably turn around and run right back
oh
into the
yeah,
house. He's on
yeah,
a
no
leash, but
doubt. Yeah.
he does that when he's ready to come back in the house. He's "Whoop, let's go. Yeah, I'm with you, man. It's funny because it takes me forever to get ready to take him out. Even his little jacket only takes like 2 minutes. Me,
Right.
I gotta put a coat on, I gotta put the right shoes on, I gotta get gloves on, I gotta get a hat or whatever's covering my, everything, get the little bags out for him and all that. And weather like this, he'll be out for all of like 3 minutes. He'll do what he's got to do, and then I gotta
Yeah,
come in, bring him in, and untake all that. It's a 20-minute process. So just to take him out for like 2 or 3 minutes. But it is what it is. He's earned that right, I guess. Furry little bastard. All right, buddy. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's do this. We've got Jacksonville and the Jets in Jacksonville tomorrow night. Jacksonville is favored by 1.5. Zach Wilson's going to start for the Jets. Again, Mike White is still out. He can't even get medically cleared, so that must be a pretty bad broken rib. I think they said it was near a lung, so they were worried about an impact could puncture his lung. So they're not
right.
clearing him for impact contact at all. Even practices, he can't
Yeah.
go. So
Actually, it's going to be in New Jersey, the game.
yeah. Oh, what did I say? Florida. I apologize. You're
Yeah,
absolutely right. It is going to be
and
in New Jersey.
it's probably going to
Trevor
be raining.
Lawrence,
It's probably going to be raining here.
is it? Lawrence is
Yeah.
questionable with a toe, but I think he's going to play. I mean, he finished the last game. And Jacksonville now is in the hunt for a playoff spot. If
Yeah,
they
that they
keep winning,
are.
if they win out, I think they're in.
Well, yeah,
I'm
well,
not
so
sure.
the Jets. So they're
Yeah,
both.
yeah.
They're,
This could be a good game tomorrow night.
I think the Jets are what 7-7, and Jacksonville six
Uh,
and eight,
that may be
or they both
correct.
might be
Yes.
6 and 8. I'm not sure. I think
Jacksonville, I know is 6-8. I
yeah,
don't know what the Jets are. Let's see
they
if we
may
can find out.
they may be 7-7.
You may be right. Let's see schedule. New York Jets. I love it now because now they don't even put their records. It's really unreal. NFL. Let's go back and see if I can find
Yeah,
teams.
that's what sucks about not having a
It's
computer while I'm on this because I can't look up anything.
Oh yeah, I've got the computer, but it's still goofy anyway because now everything is always betting focused.
Yeah, I
You know
just
what I
go to
mean?
CBS.com and click
Yeah,
on
and that's what I'm
sports.
on now. Then I'll look up the teams and let's see what it says here. Jets are 7-7.
Yeah, so
Jets are 7-7. Jacksonville 6-8.
so it's a must win for both teams actually. So
Yes.
and I like the receiver for the Jets. Drawing a blank of who it more. I think it's
Oh,
more.
more. Yeah. Wilson's
Um,
playing because, like we said, White is out.
yeah,
And Trevor Lawrence has a toe issue. He's questionable, but he should play, I think. So,
but the Jets have lost the last couple of games. and Jacksonville's looking good. I think I'm going to take Jacksonville across the board here.
Okay, that is exactly what I did, my friend. Especially since it's only 1.5.
Yeah.
I think Jacksonville will do it. Buffalo at Chicago. Chicago has Claypool is questionable with a knee injury. Nobody else on either team of significant
injuries. Yeah.
injuries that I saw. It is an
I guess,
8.5 point spread in Chicago.
And I guess Fields is okay to play since he did.
Yeah, he's not even on the injury list. So.
Yeah, 8.5's a lot. Last week I was going to take them against the Eagles, and I should have because they played them tough.
Yeah,
but I just don't see them anywhere compared to Buffalo catching up with points. So I'm going to take Buffalo across the board here.
Yeah, and I think I am too. I don't see how they could hang with Buffalo for long, in all honesty. I always love that saying, in all honesty, which is different than in half honesty. In a quarter of an honesty. Get the frick out of here. It's like with all due respect, the minute you hear that, there's no respect.
There's no fucking respect.
There's no fucking respect. You're about to get blasted. With all due respect, kiss my ass. But I mean that in the most respectful way that you can put your lips on my ass. Get the frick out of here. Atlanta and Baltimore. The Ravens are picked by 7.5, even though Huntley is questionable with his shoulder, and Jackson is still questionable with his knee.
And I tell you what, the Ravens have been spiraling downhill also.
Mm-hmm. But Mariota is not playing. It's still this kid, Ripley.
What the
Ridley?
Ritter.
Oh, Ritter. Yeah, Ridder.
Yes, Ritter.
Yes.
Yeah, he didn't look too bad in his first start last week.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, that was a good game, them and the Saints.
Yeah, and Baltimore doesn't look good, and Atlanta's running back looks okay. And Baltimore's actually going to be without Duvernay, I think.
Yeah, he's out for the season. They just said
he's out for the season. They put him on IR. Yeah. So I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take Baltimore to win, but I'm going to take Atlanta to cover. I think 7.5 is high on this.
Yeah, I got Atlanta covering too. It's just a matter of do I take them for the upset or not? But,
yeah, and that's the and I'm struggling with that with Baltimore. In all honesty, I really am. In all honesty. That being said, in all honesty,
yeah, I mean I think they signed Sammy Watkins.
Baltimore did, yes.
Baltimore, yeah, but
and he played there before, so he should be able to pick up the offense fairly quickly. Because he was there 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm gonna take the Falcons with the points, but I mean, if Jackson plays, definitely taking Baltimore. But,
right, that's the other part.
So
if Jackson plays, I might switch from Atlanta to Baltimore to cover.
Yeah,
even, to be honest with you.
So yeah, I think I got to take the Ravens also.
Okay. All right. Cincinnati, New England. New England is without Cincinnati. I didn't see any serious injuries for anybody that was a skills position player. Jacoby Myers for New England is questionable with shoulder injury. Devontae Parker is still questionable with a concussion. Damian Harris, the running back, is questionable with a thigh injury. And Steven is questionable with an ankle. Stevenson.
Right. This is puzzling because there's only 3 points. So I think this is going to be my lock of the week. And I think Bengals pound the Patriots.
Yeah, that's what I have actually here. Cincinnati. You're doing it as your lock of the week. Okay. Yeah, I just don't see New England scoring even if they have everybody.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, they just suck. Their offense is terrible. They got to figure out a way. I don't know if Belichick really likes Matt Patricia that much, but they got to figure out a way to make that change at the end of the season. They need a real offensive coordinator because he's just awful. Do Detroit and Carolina. In Carolina, Detroit is picked by 3.
I'm on the Lions bandwagon. They went out. They're in the playoffs, and they could upset some teams in the playoffs.
Yep.
So this is no doubt. I think Detroit wins easily against Carolina.
So do I. I already have that down. Although Darnold looks a little bit better than he did before at the start of the season, I just don't think they have enough weapons for him to be able to make that difference. They got one decent receiver, and their running back is starting to look okay, but they still don't have a good tight end. They still don't have another second receiver. The line is a little bit shaky. So, and he's not mobile, so he's not going to make you forget about that offensive line being shaky. He's not Jackson. He's not Mahomes. He's not Allen. He's not even Mayfield, I don't think, personally, as far as mobility. I don't think so. Houston and Tennessee. Houston, probably because they've been playing pretty tough, are not favored, but they are only picked to lose by 3, probably because Tennessee is starting to look like a train wreck.
Yeah, Tannehill looks like he's going to be out.
I didn't see him on the list, but it doesn't mean anything. You're right. He didn't look good the other day with the ankle.
But either way, I just think this will be a Derrick Henry game. He'll get 25 carries, and I like Tennessee here.
Yeah, I already have them in. And I'll be honest, it's only because it's Houston. I mean, Houston's been hanging tough. If it was 5 or higher, I might have picked Houston to cover.
Right.
I mean, they've been playing really hard. I got to give them credit.
Yeah.
They have been playing hard. But I think Tennessee needs a win very badly. Of course, we know that. And like I said, I think it's going to be Derrick Henry left, Derrick Henry right, Derrick Henry up the middle.
Yep.
And probably Derrick Henry up the middle and Derrick Henry up the middle. I mean, it's just going to be Derrick Henry up the middle. Oh, there's Derrick Henry out in the flat. Oh, Derrick Henry on a screen pass.
Yeah.
So I think you're right. You're right. New England and Cleveland. New Orleans and Cleveland. I apologize. New Orleans, Cleveland in Cleveland. Cleveland picked by 2.5. Chubb is questionable with a foot injury. Njoku is questionable with a knee injury, and Clowney is questionable from a concussion.
Yeah, and all 3 of those are not good for Cleveland.
Right. Yeah. That's 3 serious injuries.
And Watson still hasn't shaken off any rust.
Really, no. I mean, he looked a little bit better last week, but not great still. Yeah.
But so I'd like the Saints in an upset here, and I'll take the 2.5
There's
points.
Bills upset of the week. Bills upset here. So you're taking New Orleans across the board?
Yep.
So we will have our first difference today, my friend, because I'm still going to take Cleveland. At least for now. I'm gonna, I think that's what we're gonna do. New Orleans defense isn't great, but yeah, don't get me wrong, I'm scared of this. I really am. Dalton hasn't looked bad. He really hasn't. Landry's out, probably. They said he's questionable, but he probably won't be very much of an impact if he plays.
Yeah, the rookie Olave, he's questionable.
And he's questionable too. So that hurts New Orleans a couple of places. You never know. The G-men versus the V-men, the Vikings in Minnesota. Minnesota picked by 4.5. Just when you think the Giants are out of it, they come up with some squirrely win of some kind. Now, last week, they didn't look good. Yet they hung around for a while.
Yeah.
Minnesota, they're so hot and cold. They're like Shaquille O'Neal, icy hot.
Yeah, well, they
were hot.
Down,
they're cold. They're hot. They're cold.
They were down 33-0 at halftime last week,
and then came
back and won with the biggest.
But how good is
come
Indy?
From
That's the
behind.
problem. Indy lost their running back, Jonathan Taylor, and they couldn't really run the ball to kill clock.
And they became conservative too. So
yes. And even though they couldn't run, they kept trying to run.
Right.
And that was the problem. They needed, even if it was just some short passes across the middle or out in the flat, something
Yeah, a couple of first downs and this game would have been over.
would have been
That's
done.
all.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
had one time, it was what, 2 minutes, 35 seconds. Indy had the ball.
yeah,
All they needed to do was get a couple of first downs and they would have won the game.
yep.
And instead, no. So you got Giants in Minnesota. As much as I think Minnesota is taking the choke,
Mm-hmm.
the Giants, I think, are just short on weapons. I mean, they got Barkley. Jones is playing pretty well and is able to run.
Mm-hmm.
Leighton catches a few passes, but I just don't see it. They need receivers.
Yeah, I don't think they'll score
Yeah,
enough points to stay with
yeah.
Minnesota.
So I think it's going to be Minnesota, and because it's only 4.5, I got to take Minnesota across the board.
Yeah, and so will I.
All right, we'll put you down here. Seattle and the Chiefs. Hardman is questionable this week with still with that ab injury. Everybody else, I think, for Kansas City, skills wise, is back, except
Right.
Hilaire, who's on IR. But they're not missing Hilaire
They're
between
not missing him
McKinnon
anymore.
and the kid
Pacheco.
Tony's back, and then Pacheco.
Pacheco, yeah.
They're not missing
Yeah.
Hilaire too much, and he hasn't had much of an impact all season. So
Right.
wouldn't surprise me if his contract's done if he's not re-signed.
Right.
But
And Seattle's going to be without Lockett,
yeah,
but the running back Walker is questionable.
Walker's still questionable. He's been out, now he's questionable. But he played last week, didn't he?
Yeah, he did play last week. Yeah.
So I'm thinking he'll play this week. And the Chiefs do look like they have a problem stopping the run a little bit.
Yeah, and Chiefs having a hard time putting anybody away. So
yeah, that's
Kansas
why
City
the
will win
spread
this
is
game.
10.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
thinking
Kansas City will
Chiefs
win
but
But
Seattle
I'll
will cover.
I'll take the 10 points. You know
Okay,
what?
yeah, me too. All right. Well, we're on the same page there. I was hoping we'd have a difference, but I kind of figured we would not. I'm doing the same thing. I already kind of had it there. Yeah, I just and it is in Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
Kansas City's weather is going to be brutal cold.
Right.
It is going to be brutally cold. Like I said, we're supposed to get between minus 25, minus 40 tonight into tomorrow. It's going to warm up some. This is actually all these games we're talking about, except for the first one, are Saturday, not Sunday.
Yeah, these are all Saturday.
So
Sunday,
it'll still be a little
games,
colder on Saturday, right? That is a chink in the armor probably for Seattle. I mean, though they're used to wet, miserable weather, it's usually warmer, and they're not.
Right.
I don't think used to snow or bitter cold. But who is
icicles?
yeah, coming out your nose when you get hit. Your snot bubble turns into a snotsicle. But for now, I'm going to do that. I'm going to keep the Chiefs and Seattle to cover. But that might change. I might have the Chiefs covered because of, in all honesty, because of the weather and the fact that Seattle is without Lockett, so it takes a big weapon away. So, Washington, San Francisco.
This should be a good game. This should be a real good game.
Niners are picked by 7.
I'm still waiting for Chase Young to come back. I have no idea.
I don't know. Every time they say he's coming back this week, he's not back. And I haven't heard anything that says he's going to play this week.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything. Usually you would be like, oh, Chase Young's back. The other day, I thought they said Chase Young is online to play against the Giants. And I don't know if they're saving him to play against somebody big down the line or what they're doing, but unless he's just not ready.
Yeah, I like the Niners to win the game, but I'll take 7 just in case. I think Washington could have a chance upsetting the 49ers, so I'll take the 7 points.
Okay. You know what? Let's have a difference. I'm going to take the Niners across the board. So we got a little difference there. I just don't know if Washington can generate a whole lot of offense against that Niners defense. It's like the best defense in the league, I think, at this point. Another 4 o'clock. That was a 4 o'clock game, and this is the 4 o'clock game, the second one on Saturday. Philadelphia at Dallas. Dallas is picked by 5 because Jalen Hurts is questionable, and most people think that he will not play because they don't necessarily need him to. He has a right shoulder injury, his throwing shoulder. It's not separated. It's not broken. You heard all the rumors. He broke a collarbone. He says, no, it's nothing like that. But I think the Eagles are going to rest him. They haven't made the decision yet, they say.
Right.
Looks like they're going to rest him because even if they lose to Dallas, they still lead them by a game. They have Minnesota by 2 games and a tiebreaker for best record in the conference. So they don't really have to play him. It's not a do or die.
Right.
I would think the only reason they'd play him is if he just keeps saying he can play.
Right.
And even then, if they get a lead or if Dallas gets a big lead, you're going to see him yanked. But I don't have a problem with Minshew starting. So why Dallas is a 5-point favorite, I don't know.
Yeah, that's the puzzling part. I have no idea.
Yeah.
And to me, I don't really care for either team. So
yeah, you
that
don't have a dog in the hunt.
I love this game because I got Facebook friends that are Dallas fans and Eagle
Oh
fans,
yeah, you got it both ways.
I love reading their posts. I just love getting the digs in there when I can. But with that being said,
with that being said,
I'm going to take the Cowboys
woo.
to win the game, but I will take the 5 points with the Eagles.
Okay. I'll tell you what I did. I took Philly across the board. I think people are underestimating Gardner Minshew. I think he's playing not just for the team, which he is. I think he's playing for his future, and he's a pretty. I really like him as a quarterback. Now he's not as mobile, obviously, as Hurts.
Right.
Not too many people are, but he can get around in the pocket, and he played for Mike Leach. He played for that high-powered offense in college, and he had some good games and some good years in Jacksonville. Even when the team stunk, he played well.
Right.
So I like him a lot. He's nuts. I mean,
yeah, I don't think it as much as being underestimated as more the Dallas needs to win. So
that could
where
be.
I'm looking
Dallas
at it.
needs to win. Minshew, he hasn't played all year, so he's probably got some rust, and that's probably what everybody's thinking. But I'm gonna take Philly. I think Gardner's gonna show that he's gonna be okay. And like I said, I think he's playing for his future, not necessarily in Philly. But when a contract time comes up, he has another good game, and people look at his history, you might see him get a starting shot somewhere next year.
Yep.
So I think he's going to play very well. And Micah Parsons is actually questionable, but it says with an illness.
Right.
So if it's the flu, if it's not COVID, or if it's that minor strain of COVID, he'll be ready for Saturday. So that's the key. Is it's Saturday, so you get shorter recovery time for some of these things. And the last game Saturday night is Vegas against the Steelers in Pittsburgh, where again it'll probably be cold.
Yeah, they're looking at 9 degrees, I think, at game time. So,
yeah,
and that's without the wind chill. So
that's without wind chill. So wind chill's probably going to be close to 0, if not more, if not less than 0. And Pickett is back for Pittsburgh. And he played University of Pittsburgh, so it's not like he doesn't know how to play there in the cold.
Yeah.
Vegas plays indoors a lot, or in Vegas, the West Coast, and they've been so up and down. Pittsburgh is actually picked by 2.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you pick this one here because it's a point flip for me. So
yeah, it is. The only thing I see is Pittsburgh doesn't have quite enough offense to keep up, I think, with the Raiders. They have, you got I'm drawing a blank. Oh, Adams. Waller's
Jacobs.
back. Renfro's back. Jacobs. And Mac Hollins is having a career season of his life. I mean, that's as a possession guy. And Carr's a pretty good quarterback. Pittsburgh's got Pickett. They got Johnson, but he's questionable, I think. And Najee Harris is back. And Benny Snell didn't look too bad a couple weeks ago. But they don't have the offense, I don't think, that can keep up with the Raiders. And the Raiders have a little bit pass rush wise. I mean, they've got some guys. I love Max. The hell's his last name? Whatever. You know who I'm talking about. I want to say Gibson, but I don't think that's it. So it's I'm gonna take the Raiders across the board.
Okay.
It's a tough one. It really
I was
is.
leaning that way, but I'm going to take Pittsburgh at home.
Okay. Across the board?
Yep, across the board.
Okay. There's our first full game difference of the day.
And I'm sure your brother will agree with me. So.
Oh, he's all over it. Yeah, he's so happy Pickett's back. Yeah.
And I tell you what, the Raiders got gifted last week on that play at the end. That
Crosby,
bonehead
Max
play
Crosby.
by New. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
What was New England thinking?
Oh, that was just awful. That was the funniest thing.
They had the game going into overtime. And
that was worse than the California Bears thing years ago.
That's got to be the worst. That's the
field.
worst I've seen.
That might be the worst NFL play I've ever seen, the worst decision. And what a coincidence, Jacoby Myers is questionable this week to play.
Yeah.
In New England, where mistakes aren't necessarily ignored, if you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
But he was injured before that game too, so he had been questionable. So it wouldn't surprise me if he does play, but if he doesn't, I think it's Uncle Bill saying, gotta teach a lesson here for you future boys.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was the dumbest play I ever saw. It was a gift. I mean, right to Chandler Jones too. If he'd have dropped, lineman or not, linebacker or not, if he'd have dropped that ball, I just would have been like, it didn't matter because technically it's a fumble, it's a backward pass.
Right.
So, but I mean, right to him, it was perfect. He could have jogged in backwards for the touchdown. I mean, that was great. The only guy that had a shot was Mac Jones, and he took Mac Jones.
He just gave
fly on his arm. Get out of here!
Stiff arm. Get out of here!
Get out of here! He didn't even. That wasn't even a stiff arm. It was more like a, like your linguine, al dente arm. It was like, get out of here. So, yeah, he's done. So but that was a gift. But Vegas hung around to have that shot.
Yeah.
So you got to give him credit for that. I think Max Crosby's going to get in the backfield a little bit and give Pickett a hard time. Yeah. So I'm going to go with Vegas since it's only 2 points. I'll take it across the board.
Yeah, they might not be able to handle the cold weather though. So
that's true. That's true. We'll see. You're right. Meanwhile, Green Bay at Miami's the Sun O'clock. There are 3 games on Sunday: one at 1, one at 4, one Sunday Night Football.
And I think these are presented by Dennis, right?
Yes, that is correct. Dennis and Graldi from Violent Realty. Yep. You grabbed that right away. And Bill, you're getting better at putting these spots in here. This is usually you're the analyst guy, and that's your thing. But you're getting better at doing. I should have you read a couple of these one of these days. Violent Corporate, Violent Realty Corporation is our sponsor, and we thank Dennis Ingraldi and all the folks down there at Violent Realty Corp. If you want to do something for your business or residential, give Dennis and his folks a call over at Violent Realty Corporation, and let's get you the right contact information here for you, because they are a great resource. Dennis has resources too. If it's something that they don't handle, he can put you in touch with somebody no matter where, and get you the answers that you need. And that's Vineland Realty Corporation. They're at 634 East Landis Avenue in Vineland, New Jersey. So anything in the South Jersey area, and like I said, if for anywhere you want to get some residential or business property needs, whether you're renting out your house, want to rent a place, whether it's a business or whether it's residential, give Dennis and his folks a call at 856-690-9482. That's 856-690-9482. Or like we said, you can pop in the office at 634 East Landis Avenue, Vineland, New Jersey, and just let them folks know that we sent you from the cheap seats here at Public John Media, and that you need some assistance with some realty needs in the Jersey area. So, and I'm proud of you, Bill. That was good. I
You
was
like that, huh?
impressed. We're gonna get you to read
Thank
one
you,
or two of
Dennis.
these before
Appreciate it.
this.
Merry Christmas to you, but
Yeah, thanks, Dennis and Helen and the whole crew down there at Vineland Realty for sponsoring everything that's Public John, and especially for sponsoring us here with the cheap seats. We appreciate it. So now we can get to the Sunday games. Green Bay and Miami. Miami is picked by 3.5. Aaron Jones is questionable with a knee. Jeff Wilson from Miami is questionable with a hip.
Yeah,
They're the
before I
biggest ones.
analyze this game, these 3 games on Christmas Day have got to be the most garbage games I ever.
Yeah, they're not Christmas
I
presents to
just
us,
don't.
unless it's Christmas presents that we're going to put 3 crap games on
They
so that
are
you can pay attention to
horrendous.
your family for the holidays, because
Yeah, that's what I
there's
was
no
gonna say. I
reason
don't
to
know how
watch for
much.
football.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know how much I'll watch of these 3
I
games
don't
because
think
it's
I'll be
just.
seeing a whole lot. If I do, it's because the weather is so bad I can't go do what I was going to do, and I'm stuck
Right,
at home. Other than
right.
that, I would not be very interested in any of these games for any reason. Well, Miami Green Bay is the closest one to looking semi-competitive and
Yeah,
with quality. But it's in Miami. If it was in Green Bay, I'd give Green Bay a shot.
yeah. I
They
totally
are
agree.
they are getting receivers that are starting to look pretty good. You got Lazard's playing well. This kid
Yeah.
Watson's playing
Oh,
great.
Watson's, yeah,
Randall
and
Cobb is playing pretty well.
I think this actually helps Green Bay a little bit having just Dylan taking all the snaps too. I mean, if Jones doesn't play,
If
I think
Jones doesn't play, it
I
might
don't.
help.
I mean, I don't mind the
And
splitting
Cobb
thing.
looked good
Sometimes
last
it
week.
works, but I just
Yeah.
think I think when you have a one bell cow,
You
doing
plan
all the
around
work.
that. You know what style of runner he is, and you can plan your offense around that instead of having to go back and forth with different types of runs. I
Right.
agree.
So I'll take Miami across the
But I'm
board,
going to take Miami across the board.
and I think you
But
are
that
too.
being said, we're both saying Miami across the board, only because it's 3.5.
Green Bay just hasn't been impressive. So
No, and they're definitely not consistent. Offense isn't consistent. Defense has hung in there better than a lot of people thought, but the offense hasn't really delivered.
right.
So, the 4 o'clock game. What an exciting game this is! A barn burner here in the NFL. The Denver Broncos go to Los Angeles to play the Rams, and Denver, even though they're visiting, are favored by 2.5.
2.5. But they get Russell Wilson back.
Yes.
So the Rams are the second worst team in the NFC, below the Bears, or right above the Bears.
Above the Bears.
So I like Denver's defense. So I'll go ahead and take the Broncos and give the points.
Well, guess what? John has his his upset pick of the week. I think it's the Rams, buddy.
Okay.
I'm going Rams all the way. Let me put upset of the week. There it is. It's only 2.5. I like Baker Mayfield. I'm rooting for him. Cam Akers ran the ball a little bit better last week, though Denver has good defense. Jefferson's starting to pick it up a little bit with Baker. But yeah, I agree. I think it's an upset pick. And Wilson hasn't impressed me all season. He really hasn't.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And I think the offensive play calling isn't great. Murray is questionable for Denver with a foot injury.
But they got
Um,
Marlon Mack, who's scored back-to-back
Marlon
weeks,
Mack,
baby.
though, is there. Yep, I agree. And then there's somebody else with that. Oh, Cortland Sutton's questionable with a hamstring again. So that could make a difference. But they still have Judge Judy's nephew, Jerry, or grandson, Jerry Judy.
Grandson Jerry.
Grandson Jerry Judy. It's my courtroom, my show, my football field. But he's coming into his own. He's really gotten to be a good receiver. He
Yep.
already was, but he's really starting to branch out a little bit now. But that being said, I am taking the Rams across the board for my upset pick of the week. Sunday night football, the third and final game on Sunday. Tampa Bay at Arizona. Murray's on IR. Colt McCoy is questionable with a concussion. Actually, he's out now
He's
with
out.
his concussion.
McSorley
So
will be quarterback.
Trace McSorley, the former Penn State quarterback, who didn't look much better than me, and I didn't play.
Yeah, I made a statement last week that I would never take Tampa Bay the rest of the season. Well,
I think you're gonna. You lied.
I'm lying.
You lied.
I lied my ass off.
Because you got to take Tampa Bay this week,
gotta
buddy.
take Tampa.
You gotta take Tampa Bay. And now I will say the point spread is 7.5. I'll say that. Will Tom Terrific be able to beat the crud out of Arizona?
What do you think?
I think it's Tampa Bay all the way, or as what's his name says, LA baby, in that commercial.
I totally agree.
Because it doesn't necessarily take Tom Terrific to score the points. The defense may get a pick six or a scoop and score or both.
Right.
McSorley's, he doesn't have experience, and their offensive line isn't great. It's been banged up. So I'm going Tampa Bay all the way. And I guess you are too, right?
Yes.
My only caveat, or not caveat, my only hesitation would be the high point spread, but no. Just no. There's no other explanation needed. No. And last but not least, Monday Night Football. Dun, 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 dun. The LA Chargers versus the Indianapolis Colts. The quarterback of the world is just on fire in LA. Herbert's just phenomenal. No matter what, he keeps you in just about every game.
Yeah.
And there are games he's unstoppable. I mean, depending on who you play.
And he's got his weapons back.
And he's starting to get weapons back. Yep.
Keenan Allen.
Mike Williams, who made a great catch last week. Gee, phenomenal catch.
Eckler's a little banged up, but he did come back and play.
He did come back in and play. And Indy, I feel so bad for them. Now they're starting Foles at quarterback. They're pretty much
Nick Foles.
Nick Foles is getting brushed off and wiped off again. But it may have been so long since he's played.
Yeah.
Their offensive line isn't great. He's not overly mobile. I like Nick Foles a lot. I liked him the first time in Philly. And of course, the second time, we all know what he did.
Yeah.
He let everybody see that Carson Wentz is a scrub when he came in and took over.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you do that?
And after last week's debacle for the Colts.
Yeah, you had to try some. I'm surprised they didn't try him a couple weeks ago.
I mean, they're definitely out of the playoffs, so they might just be packing it in here.
I think they are, and I think what they're doing is they're going to look at Foles to see, does he have anything left in the tank? Is he worth keeping, even as a backup?
Right.
Is he worth hanging on to? Is he a guy that can get us that bridge for a year while we draft somebody?
Right.
And it doesn't their good draft pick go to Philly again this year? Because of the Carson Wentz trade?
Because I believe Matt Ryan got more snaps, or
70%, or maybe
So
he hasn't. Maybe he's close, and that's why the other reason.
maybe that's a possibility.
Because
I
remember, he
thought,
was out a game or two games. So
yeah,
maybe he's not. If he doesn't play the next 3 weeks, maybe he doesn't get those snaps.
right. So
And
we'll go
and
what to a second round, is it? If
I
he
think
doesn't get,
if he
or is,
doesn't get the snaps, it might be a first round. But I was pretty sure they got a first and a second, or it might be 2 seconds. I know they got more
right.
than they ever should have got.
But if he doesn't get to the if he don't get the 70%, then that doesn't move up to a one.
No, I think you're right.
They got, yeah, he's got to
It's
play a
not.
certain.
Yeah, he's got to play a certain amount.
But and the Colts are without their leading running back Jonathan Taylor, and
Yeah, for the rest of the season now.
so
They put him on IR.
I see the Chargers handling the Colts pretty easily here.
Yeah, it says 5.5. And as much as I like Foles, and I hope he does well and doesn't get hurt. Now they didn't come out and say it was the rest of the season yet, but they did say it's for this week. But it wouldn't surprise me if he does okay, win or lose, that he isn't named the starter for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I think I did read something like that later today.
Oh, was it later today? Did they finally say it?
That Matt Ryan is benched for the rest of the season, so
Okay.
it'll either be Foles or the
other
other
kid,
guy they got. Yeah,
Edinger or Ellinger or
yeah. So
B.I. Bicky By or whatever his name is. I don't know. He's not the old Chevy Chase line just always comes back in Caddyshack.
I mean, I don't
He's
think
not
that
good.
kid could even play in the Canadian
And
or
the
USFL.
XFL.
Yeah, I just don't.
USFL's coming, the XFL's coming. You got Canadian football. If he can't play in one of those, he just can't play. And then you still got arena football floating around out there. But arena football, you got to be pretty quick, or you're going to get crushed.
I kind of like watching.
I kind of like watching arena football.
Yeah.
You're going to get your head smacked if you don't get rid of that ball pretty quick. So, unfortunately, I think I'm with you. I got to take the Chargers, even though, and I really kind of hope. Well, no, the Chargers are out of it, I think. But
no, Chargers still
they still have a
shot.
chance. Yeah. I'd love to see what Herbert can do in the playoffs if he gets there. I hope he's not like a Dan Marino and doesn't have a long career of not quite getting there himself. I know Marino got there as a backup years ago and all that, but got in the playoffs a few times. But I'd like to see Herbert get in the playoffs with a decent team and just see what he could do. Though I'm a huge Chiefs fan and he's in that division, so that's the problem.
Yeah, I'm not sure what their record is, but I think Miami may have that last wild card right now, I think.
Yeah, you might be right.
Or they got the second wild card possibly. So
yeah. Let's see. Schedule, scores, standings. Let's see if it tells me anything here. Playoff picture. As of right now, Dolphins would be 7th. Chargers 6th. First round buys Buffalo. Okay, Chargers are 8. No, Chargers are 8-6-0.
Oh yeah,
they would be 6th. They're actually because I think they hold.
So they're already they're already
so they're in
right now.
And the Ravens are in at 9-5-0.
Right.
So it's the Dolphins who would want to catch the Chargers.
And they're 8-6, right?
They're both 8-6.
Yeah.
So the Chargers must hold a tiebreaker of some kind, and the Ravens are 9-5-0.
Right.
But they're gonna be in trouble.
Yeah, they're gonna be in trouble. I mean, they'll make the playoffs, but they're gonna be slipping.
Yeah,
slipping down.
They're slipping quickly. So, what week is this? Oh, and then you got, and as of now, the Dolphins, the Bills would be get the first round bye. The Dolphins would have to go to Kansas City.
Right.
Wow,
that'd be tough. Tough game.
Tough game, man. Oof. Chargers would go to Cincinnati.
Oh,
yikes! And the Ravens would go to Tennessee.
Ugh.
I don't like that game.
Yeah, I don't like the winner.
Either.
That'd be so. Maybe they'll.
The NFC, Philly would get the bye. Washington would be in at 7-6-1 and play the Vikings in Minnesota. The Giants would be in at 8-5-1 and would play the Niners. Bye. Goodbye.
The
Giants.
Okay.
The Giants. Goodbye.
Yeah, goodbye. Yeah.
Goodbye. Thanks for stopping in. Goodbye. I think Commanders could beat Minnesota, but I don't think the
Yeah,
Giants
that
have a
it
shot. Yeah.
could be.
And the Cowboys would go to Tampa, even though the Cowboys are 10-4 and Tampa's 6-8.
Yeah.
That's the way that stands.
You
That's
know
as
what?
of right now.
That's the thing where if you're not 500, you don't belong in the playoffs,
You
whether you're a
don't
division
right.
winner or
It
not.
was
They
like a
should
year
take
in
somebody.
Seattle when they were
Yeah,
7-9. I was like, what a
yeah.
joke. And then they almost got to the next round, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. They don't deserve it.
You know
But
what? Screw the divisions. You do it like the NBA. You do
you
1 through 8,
seed it. Seed
one
it
through
by
eight.
record.
Simple as that.
Use your tiebreakers. Yep, 1 through, I guess it's now
Or
1 through
whatever. Yeah,
14.
whatever
Yeah,
the
but
amount
yeah.
is. So
Well, 1 through 7 in each conference.
right.
Yeah, and you're right. That's the way they should do it. But they don't listen to us. They don't listen to the smart guys in the room. It's they're not necessarily worried about the competition, the competitive factor being number one. Number one is money.
Yeah.
So if you can
Yeah.
have, I mean, if you can have,
But to
the
have like a
Giants
six,
in the
yeah,
playoffs,
yeah. I mean, to
An
have
LA team in the playoffs,
right, but to
or-
have like say Tampa ends up 6-10,
right.
and you have a team that's 9-5 not making the playoffs because they're
Yeah.
not a division winner. It's not right.
Well, it's like Dallas is 10-4-0. Now, I'm not a Cowboys fan, as we both know,
Right.
but the Cowbangers are 10-4-0, and Buccaneers are 6-8. Yet
Yeah.
Dallas has to go to Tampa.
Yeah. Has to go to Tampa.
They have to go to Tampa because they're not a division winner.
Right.
And that's just so unfair. Even that part to me should be changed.
That should be changed.
If you have a better record than a division one, the game should be at your place. You earned it.
Yep.
So they're like, oh, they won their division. It was the shittiest division
Yeah.
ever. They haven't clinched it yet, and it's so bad.
Yeah.
So I mean, and they're not 500, but you're right. They could make the playoffs.
I guarantee. Yeah, I guarantee none of the teams in there will be a 500 team
No,
because
I think
the,
you're
the
right.
three
Because if
the
6 and
three
8's the
teams below
best,
the
for
three
them
teams
to be
below are
over,
5-9, so they're
right?
definitely not getting there.
Yeah, for them to be 9 and 8, Tampa would have to win out,
Yep.
and they're the only ones that have a shot. That's our last game. We've got 4 differences. One is a straight up difference with all the way across the board. The others are on spreads. I will give you last week's totals, which was really bad for both of us, so we're not going to spend a lot of time on it. And what that brings our totals up to. Last week, Bill was actually on the straight picks. We both had pretty good weeks. Bill was 13-3. I was 11-5. So nice job, Bill, with a nice recovery. Mine was okay,
Yeah.
but 13-3. I mean,
Picked
that's
up 2
straight.
games
But
on you.
that's
I needed that.
You did. You picked up 2 games, which now straight gives you a 128-93 record. You're at 57.9%. I am at 126-85 at 61.5%. You're still 8 games off, but you were 11. So that's pretty good.
Yep.
On the spread, you did a lot better than me. You split it exactly. You were 8-8.
Mm-hmm.
There was one game it looked like a push, but actually before the game started, it was actually the Green Bay Rams game. No, it wasn't. It was the Chargers Tennessee game. Went from 3 to 2.5. If it stayed 3, we would have pushed. But the fact that it went to 2.5, we both won.
Right.
So we'll take that. Hey, it is what it is. That's the numbers game. So against the spread, Bill, you were 8-8, right on the 500. You'll take it. I was not 500. I was 6-10. So you gained 2 games on me there too. So against the spread, you were 103-115, still below the 500 mark, but you're getting there. You went up 0.2 of a percentage point.
Ooh.
At 47.3. Slow your roll, buddy. Slow your roll. Stay in your lane. Meanwhile, though, I dropped. I dropped in the spread this week, percentage point wise. I'm still at 52.3, so I'm over 50% at 114-104. 11 games up on you there. So, but we got 3 weeks left. I keep sucking up the tailpipe.
And the playoffs.
And the playoffs. So, and we know that it was close last year. It came down to what, 2 games in the end?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Well, the last game, because I had to pick the opposite.
you had to
So
pick the opposite to catch me was the Super Bowl. If you didn't,
yeah.
But who knows? I mean, it's still some significant time left.
Yep.
So you figure 3 weeks, 16, 17, and 18. And then you got what, 2 weeks of playoffs, maybe 3 weeks of playoffs, I think, and then the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So lots of time, lots of games left.
Plenty of games. Plenty
Plenty
of games.
of games. We do need to address before we go a sad bit of NFL news. One of the greatest running backs of all time was in the Hall of Fame from Pittsburgh, the great Franco Harris. So close to the 50-year anniversary of the Immaculate Reception against the Raiders that got them in the playoffs. Passed away yesterday at the age of 72. That play, as well as his play at Penn State and with the Steelers for years, made him a household name for a long time. An outstanding running back and a great person. Franco Harris passed away yesterday at the age of 72. He will and is going to be missed.
Yep.
So, like we said, that he was actually going to be put into the Steelers Ring of Honor, which is equivalent to a Hall of Fame, I believe either this week or next week. I'm not sure which. And I'm sure since the game with Pittsburgh is at home, they will probably pay some tribute to him, and well, they should. So,
yeah.
Like we said, great running back and a good guy, and very well. And in the late 70s, I believe, early 80s, he was a household name. He was as big as it gets as a running back.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, he's been in the Hall of Fame for a while now. That's what shocks me, that Pittsburgh didn't try to get him in the Ring of Honor
Ring
earlier.
of Honor sooner.
Yeah.
But so rest in peace, Franco Harris, and we don't know the cause of death yet at 72. They didn't say he'd been sick. Didn't say it was anything. Just said he passed away. I'm sure more will come out somewhere down the road, but cause of death at this point is unimportant. It's just the sad fact that he passed away. He was 72.
Yeah.
But he did pass away, and we needed to bring that to you as well. Other than that, not a whole. Oh, no, you pointed it out before we started the show. A pretty good running back, not quite Hall of Fame, but a pretty good running back for years for Denver, Ronnie Hillman, is on hospice as well with sickle cell anemia, I think, Bill, right?
Yeah.
It looks like lung and liver failure, possibly.
Liver cancer. Yeah, and he's on hospice, and
He's on
I
hospice.
think he played 5 or 6 years, and he's only
He was
31 years old. So
yeah, and he played in Denver. He's a really, and he was a pretty good running back, and this all hit him so quick, and things are not looking good for Ronnie Hillman. So, obviously, condolences to family and friends there as well. Hate to end it on that, so, but we kind of have to. We have to acknowledge those guys. They're good players. Franco Harris is a great player, and we have to at least acknowledge that situation for both of them. That's it for us. We hope everybody has a great holiday. You can see Bill is festive, as always. The festive Billy Smith.
Ho.
Ho, ho, ho. I wish you'd quit bringing up my ex-wives on this show. I get sad every time I do. Once a year, I go through this terrible thing when people keep mentioning my ex-wives. Ho, ho, and ho. And if it's squared, you're still in the running. Ho, 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 ho. But there you have it, folks. Thanks for joining us from the cheap seats. I'm John Harris with co-host Billy Smith. Happy holidays to everybody. We will talk to you soon. Regular sports news, of course, will commence pretty soon too, because there's a lot of stuff going on out there, buddy.
Yeah.
We're going to have, especially when baseball gets closer, a lot of names and faces changing places. So we'll see what happens. But thanks, everybody. Anything you want to add, Bill, before we go?
Just Merry Christmas and Everybody stay safe and warm.
Yep. No pressure though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Please stay safe and warm, especially you folks that are going to be in the area of the storm. Please dress appropriate. All right. Frostbite can hit you within seconds.
Mm-hmm.
All right. When it's as cold as it's going to be out this way, they're talking about between 25 and 40 below zero wind chills for the next day or two. So please bundle up if you have to go out. If you don't have to go out, don't. Stay home. So
Yeah. Hey, keep those pipes running.
yeah,
So
yeah, keep pipes
that way
running
there
so
your
your
pipes
water
don't
doesn't
freeze
freeze
there
up.
on you.
Yeah, I don't want that. So all right, buddy. Thanks for that. And thanks for helping out as you always do. We appreciate it. The research, the analytics, all that stuff. And we'll be back with you folks next week. If there's a major change, of course, we'll bring on the Express Saturday or Sunday. But for right now, picks are in for week 16. For Billy Smith, I'm John Harris from the Cheap Seats here at Public John Media. Have a good week and a good holiday weekend, everybody.
Good night.